Jenny Thomas, I do not address you as a politician, nor as a diplomat, not even as the leader of some distant nation. I speak to you as a man who has waited too long, watching as men like your husband, Clarence Thomas, turn away from those who share their blood, their history, the very scars carved by centuries of chains. First, I must speak to Clarence Thomas, and I will be blunt. You have worn that robe so long, you may believe it hides you from the truth. But no robe, no title, no seat on the highest bench can conceal this. You have forsaken the people who once saw hope in you. You are no defender of the oppressed. You are the shield of the powerful. You judge a nation, yet refuse to judge yourself. You speak of the law as sacred, yet twist it to guard those who already stand above it. You preach principles, yet yours shift with every invitation to the tables of the elite. You, who know the weight of chains, now help forge new ones. Do you remember what it is to be poor, to be ignored, to be treated as less because of your skin? Or has the comfort of the powerful erased those memories? Your words carry the tone of a man who has forgotten struggle, and when a man forgets struggle, he becomes dangerous. Dangerous because he mistakes comfort for merit, blind to the fact that his ease exists while others suffer. Dangerous because he confuses the approval of billionaires for the respect of the people. Dangerous because he uses his power to lock doors, not open them. Hear this, Clarence Thomas. History will not spare you. Sign your rulings. Smile for the cameras. Accept every invitation from the rich and powerful. But when your name is spoken in the years to come, it will not be with honor. It will be a warning. A warning of what happens when a man trades his people for a seat at the master's table. Now, Jenny Thomas, I turn to you, because silence in the face of injustice is not neutrality. It is complicity. Your home is filled with a silence louder than screams. Do you understand? When injustice unfolds before you, and you choose not to speak, you do not stand aside. You stand with the oppressor. Silence is never empty. It is heavy with meaning, with consequences, with the suffering of those who needed your voice and heard nothing. Behind your walls of comfort, the world burns for justice. People march, shout, bleed, fighting for dignity that should never have been stolen. Yet in your home, there is no fire, no urgency, only the hollow calm of turning away. You may think silence is harmless, just not getting involved. But silence is a choice. It says, I will not risk my comfort for another's freedom. It says, I will not disturb my world, even as others collapse. That is not neutrality. It is taking sides, the side of power, the side that profits from keeping others down. Your silence, Jenny Thomas, carries weight. You are no stranger without influence. You sit close to power, close enough to whisper in the ear of a man on the highest court of the most powerful nation on earth. That silence is dangerous, for it upholds injustice instead of challenging it. I have seen this silence before, in Africa. We have known leaders who ignored the cries of their people, who called it staying out of conflict. History does not remember them as neutral. It brands them cowards. It marks their silence as betrayal. And betrayal, Jenny Thomas, is not always an act. Sometimes, it is the refusal to act. Sometimes, it is closing the curtains so you don't have to see the suffering outside. You may say, it's not my fight. But tell me, if not you, who? If not now, when? You are married to a man whose rulings shape millions of lives. Your voice could reach places where others are never heard. To pretend you bear no responsibility is a lie. The silence in your home is not ignorance. Disrupting your dinner. It is looking away as the system your husband protects crushes black lives in America and keeps Africa under the boot of exploitation. Understand this. Silence stains. When you look back years from now, you will not remember the comfort. You will remember the moments you could have spoken and didn't. And those moments will haunt you more than any criticism ever could. That is why I speak to you now. Your silence is not invisible. It is felt by those struggling, by those who expected more from someone in your position. And it will be written in your story, whether you like it or not. The question is, what will that story say? That you stood by as injustice raged? Or that you found the courage to break the silence before it was too late? You have walked the corridors of power. You've stood in rooms where the future of nations was debated. You've shaken hands with those whose influence spans continents. You've spoken into ears that can dictate laws, economies, even wars. You are not a bystander in this story. You are a participant. A participant with access and reach that millions of ordinary people will never know in their lifetimes. And what have you done with that privilege? You've pushed agendas that serve the same elite circles who feast while the world starves. Do not pretend this is accidental. You know exactly who these circles are. They are the ones who see the suffering of the poor as a statistic, not a tragedy. They speak of freedom and opportunity while locking doors to those who need the most. They smile in your face, preaching democracy, yet fund the machinery that keeps nations in economic chains. And you have aligned yourself with them. Not by chance, not reluctantly, but deliberately. You've chosen to stand with those who uphold the status quo. The same status quo that has buried generations of black people under poverty, injustice, and disenfranchisement. Think about that word, buried. It is not a word of life, not a word of growth. It is a word of finality, of death, of something hidden beneath the earth where it cannot rise again. That is what the system you protect has done to millions. It has buried their dreams before they could breathe, buried their hopes before they could blossom, buried their potential under mountains of systemic oppression. And what is this status quo you defend? It is a system where wealth is hoarded by a few while entire communities are abandoned. Where the legal structure serves the powerful and punishes the powerless. Where a child born in poverty is more likely to end up in prison than in a university. Where laws are written not to protect the vulnerable, but to safeguard the property and profits of those who already have too much. Jenny Thomas, you may think your role is simply to support your husband, to counsel him, to stand by his side as he shapes the lives of millions. But your influence is not invisible. Every conversation, every piece of advice, every connection you foster feeds into the machinery of power. And when that machinery crushes the weak, you cannot wash your hands and say, "It was not my doing." Because power is not just in the hand that signs the paper, it is in the mind that whispers in the ear of the one holding the pen. You are not powerless. You never have been. But instead of using that power to lift the poor, you've used it to cement the place of the rich. Instead of challenging injustice, you've reinforced it. Instead of standing with the oppressed, you've stood with the oppressor. Do you know what it means to stand with the oppressor? It means sharing their guilt. It means inheriting their shame. It means when history looks back, your name will not be among those who fought for liberation, but among those who helped build the walls that kept people in chains. You may tell yourself you work for stability, for order, for the good of the country. But whose stability? Whose order? Whose good? There is nothing stable about a nation where one group feasts while another starves. Nothing orderly about a system where justice depends on skin color or bank balance. Nothing good about a country that lectures the world on human rights while ignoring its own citizens crying for equality. You've been close enough to power to see its hypocrisy. You've heard the elite speak one language in public, of unity, fairness, democracy, and another behind closed doors, where strategy is about control, dominance, profit. You've seen that this system will not change on its own. It must be challenged, shaken, confronted. Yet you have not challenged it. You have defended it. You've helped it survive when it should have been dismantled. Do you not see the irony? You and your husband, born from communities that know marginalization, now serve as guardians of a system that marginalizes others. You've become what you should have fought against. And the tragedy? You still have a choice. You could leave the corridors of power and stand with the powerless. You could use your connections to demand change instead of blocking it. You could be remembered for choosing justice over privilege, but that choice is slipping away. Every day you spend defending the status quo, you sink deeper into its legacy. And make no mistake, that legacy will be written not with praise, but with condemnation. A day is coming when the voices of the poor will drown out the wealth of the rich. When Africa rises from exploitation, when Black America rises from systemic oppression, when the oppressed of the world rise together and demand justice. And on that day, those who stood with the oppressors will find no refuge in titles, wealth, or connections. I tell you this not to threaten you, but to warn you. Your influence could be used for good, but it is wasted propping up a system that will fall. And when it does, you will wish you had chosen the side of the people. Because power fades, wealth fades, connections fade, but the record of what you stood for remains forever. And right now, that record shows you aligned with those who hold the world in chains. You are not just a bystander, Jenny Thomas. You are a builder of this system. The only question left is, will you keep building walls of oppression, or will you start tearing them down before it's too late?